Here we are. We got us a fire going. First of all, thank you, Base Maps. Our friends there sent me this cool little fire pit, so we got it put to work. It's a cold day in Georgia. I got my dad and my buddy Stevie, and we got a big old dough in the cooler. So we just gonna hang out and just see if we can't whittle this thing down and get it all ready for the freezer. And we got all the Meat You Maker product in there. So if you go to meatyoumaker.com, you can find, you know, where to get all this equipment we're about to use. And so literally a deer that we shot right here on the farm, and it's gonna go all the way in the freezer, all the way to the plate. So it just shows you, hey, country boys and girls can survive. And this kind of life we've been living for a long time. It's just when you get these products like Meat You Maker, and you get these processing opportunities, and you get these cubers, you get the grinders, and you get all this stuff, it just makes life even more rich. So you know what? Y'all join us, and thank y'all for subscribing. We got a lot of things like this coming at you. So join us as we get this deer ready for the freezer and the table. Susie's Ridge at its best here. We're back up here on Susie's Ridge and getting ready to process this dough. But this is the real fun part of why this food is coming. There we go. So we're gonna skin her out, start deboning her, and Stevie likes a lot of neck roast and stuff like that. I mainly like all mine just ground. You can make sausage, you can do a lot of different things. We got a beef jerky machine in there, so we can show you how we just kind of cut up and get some meat ready for that. We got backstraps, so there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Just got to figure out what way suit what you like to cook. And you know, if you eat a lot of you know, steak, or if you eat a lot of cube steak, or if you like to barbecue. We are a big chili and ground beef type, or in this case ground venison. We do a lot with the ground meat, you know, with burgers, you know, chili, soups, tacos. There's a plethora of different things. So that's why with most of our stuff we grind. We basically gonna rip the skin off this deer and quarter it up, and so we're not even gonna go through that on this particular video. But if you want to see more about that, there is actually a video on this channel of us doing that. But we're gonna get this all whittled up and get the meat off of it, and we'll show you how we're gonna process it. This is a shoulder quarter we just pulled off, and there actually is a lot of decent meat on here. My personal opinion, this is always a lot of good grind on it. You know, most of your hams, you got some roast if you like roast. But again, there's a lot of good meat to grind in here, and you might even get a good piece of quality, you know, cube meat on there too. But mostly the shoulder. This right here will make sure we get all the fat, all the sinew off of it, and this will go for the grinder.
What we have here is your two hindquarters. A lot of people get roast out of them, cube steak, some grind. You can even cut stir fry out of them. Or if you're like us, sometimes around the holiday seasons, we just like to wrap the whole thing in tin foil and smoke it.
I'm getting all the pieces kind of put together and trimming it up. You can see this is the back side of the deer where the back straps are. But again, can't stress enough on wild game, especially venison. For me, I try to get every bit of fat off I can. Completely different than beef. This wild game fat is bitter. My personal opinion is. Somebody might like it, but I've never liked it. So that, I just want to get all the fat off, and then you can decide how you want to do it. Some people will cut the backstrap up and they will grind it, and they'll have just some unbelievable chuck. The backstrap to me is such a quality piece of meat. You can cut up the mignons and grill it, or you might even want to take it and cube it. Just depends on how you want to cook it. But first thing is preparation. Alright, you can see right here we got this backstrap all clean and pretty. That is one of the best pieces of meat for me on a deer. But as you can see on both sides, I've went around, and you can pick back through it. You just want to get all that sinew, all that fat off. And then pretty simple, just like you'd cut a steak. So this would basically similar to, I guess you'd call a filet mignon. Now the deer have that inside tenderloin, which is really good. But for me, personal, I like the backstrap. And so once you kind of get to this point, you just cut this in little thin mignons as thick as you want. For me, I like them cut about that thick. And that is a perfect, beautiful, clean piece of meat. You can marinate it, put some dry rub on there. That's not that thick. And I mean, throw that thing on a grill, sear it real hot, real quick. Make sure it's rare, medium at best. And it's mouth-watering, I promise you. So this is just a real simple way. They look like a little baby filet mignon. And And that right there, my friends, is why you hunt. Again, I've gotten all the sinew, all the fat, clean red meat. You can't get any more organic. It's all caps organic. From the farm to the processor. In this case, the processor in our backyard, thanks to meatyoumaker.com. And you can take this right here and you can survive. You can feed families. You can feed your own family. You can do so much with it. And another thing I always try to do when I'm doing my own meat is, first of all, I can take this meat right here, and when I cook it, I really can make sure if I give this meat away or cook it, prepare it for somebody, I can change their whole momentum in the way they look at eating wild game. So take a little extra step when you're preparing this. Make sure you have no hair, no fat. Make sure it's clean. And I even, when I'm preparing this, obviously this is not a supermarket, this is on my property, so I'll take an extra step to make sure it is pristinely clean, because you take that person that might be an anti-hunter or don't completely understand why you hunt, when you feed them a piece of meat like this, it needs to be cleaner, in my opinion, than the supermarket. And when they eat it, then they're going to understand it's all going full circle. So once I got this meat to this point, what I do is, if I got to get together, I can put it together and grill it up right now. I don't do a ton of marinade or seasoning on Backstrap. I like to do a little dry rub. I found that Montreal steak is good on it, a little olive oil. It's great to grill it just like that. But from here, I usually take these little mignons and I'll put one Backstrap in one of these bags, and we'll take you over here to this Meat You Maker, this vacuum sealer, and show you how it works. You can use this vacuum sealer and for other things other than these cuts. We use our we do our ground meat in here. We do our cube. You can do pretty much anything. And you can even, I use it for my pecans. Like we get a lot of pecans, I can vacuum seal them out, throw them in the freezer. They're excellent for that. So Stevie explained to you, obviously you got Whitey family, 5 kids and a wife and myself, and you got a normal family. So Stevie show you that you can get these bags in a lot of different sizes. So, depending on how much you want to put in there. Like I don't even know how much. Show them Stevie how it works.
Well, when you prepare for the Waddell family, Waddell's got a big family.
Yeah.
You do what I call the family pack.
Yeah.
You put 9 to 10 pieces in here. And you just want to take them and lay them in here just kind of straight out. You can overlap them and lay them on top of each other, but it's kind of not wise to do that, because even though it's vacuum sealed, it's back and all the air sucked out of it, it can still cause it to stick together.
Here's exciting news. So that is one side of one Backstrap. And I would say, especially with some fixings, if you baked potato, cream corn, that whole Backstrap, Stevie, can fit in this one bag. So that is one side. So if you got a family, I've done it before, to where one solid side of a Backstrap with fixings, meaning, potatoes, cream corn, or if you're gonna do baked beans, the meat section of that can be in one bag. And so you pretty much can prepare it that way and vacuum seal it so you're ready, set, and you can mark it on there. A lot of times we'll put where the deer came from, we make the date, we mark the date, what it is. So it's just it's an exciting time when you thaw this out to go cook for your family. You know exactly what deer it is, you know exactly how much meat you got in there, you kind of know based on experience how much it's going to feed. And so like this case, that right there is one side of the Backstrap. And I know when I thaw this out, this pack, that this will feed my family. And so if you see right here, this is a little bit, and this would be enough for just a little quick appetizer. So I sometimes will do it in 2 packs. One is I'll throw some on the grill for appetizers before a meal, but in this case it's just awesome. And this darn shrink or this sealer right here does an unbelievable job.
Oh, it makes life a lot easier. Instead of the old way of wrapping it in plastic with old rolling machines and wrapping it in butcher's paper and stuff like that, this makes it a whole lot simpler and easier. What you want to do is, you want to take the bag, stick your closed-in part to the bag. You want to overlap with your heat bar right here. You want to overlap about 1 inch. I usually come up right to about before it touches the edge here. And what you want to do is, you want to push this down the folder will you'll lock up. Now it takes about 30 seconds for it to suck all the air out of it. And then it's going to take like 2.5 seconds for it to seal it off completely. And you can't beat this thing.
No. And that's why they call it the vacuum sealer, because it vacuums all the air out and then it seals it. And so it's clean. It does away with frostbite a lot better than your typical old Ziploc bag. And so this works if you're a fisherman and stuff like that. Notice it's down, it's got all the air out of it.
Okay,
See, watch now, it's going to seal it.
It's sealing now. And just as soon as the pressure comes off, as you'll notice, it'll come to 0. Okay, you're done.
Pull it out there and show them what we got, Stevie.
Then you have your finished product.
Get your little Sharpie right on there what that is. Throw it right in the freezer. You're rocking and rolling.
Now the thing about this is when you vacuum seal, you're saving the lifetime of the meat also. What used to when you wrapped in old butcher paper and plastic was you were good for 5 to 6 months before it got freezer burnt and you got to throw it away or give it away. And now you can hold this pack of meat now for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And it will not be freezer burnt.
So there you go. This right here is ready to throw in the freezer. Only thing we'll do is we'll date it, mark it, and it's ready to throw in the freezer, ready to be eaten. And so this is just straight carved up backstrap, one side of the backstrap. Now we're going to show you how this grinder works.
The one good thing about Meet Your Maker is they actually send you all these cool booklets to go along with their equipment. Now I wouldn't have said 1 to 3 years. I know people may be thinking 1 to 3 years. That's crazy. But yes, even here, your food storage and safety information in the Meet Your Maker chamber vacuum log says fresh beef and veal, vacuum freezer storage 1 to 3 years.
And the cool thing about cutting meat, whether it's beef, cattle, lamb, in this case a white-tailed deer, really the way you debone, the way you would look at the different cuts of meat, it's the same versus one's wild, one domestic. So Steve will show you what he's going to do as he prepares this to put it in the grinder.
The front shoulder that Waddy showed you is basically good for grinding. You can maybe get a couple of pieces of cube steak off of it, but not much. Majority of people just use a grinder. What we're going to do is we're going to start right about here. And we're going to cut it out. You'll have like a little gland there that you want to cut out. That is trash. That'll give you a gamey taste. And what you want to do is it's called just hunking it up. And for the Meet Your Maker grinder, you're going to want about this size here. It is perfect to feed that grinder with.
This also, for even people like me, prior to doing a lot by myself, it proved too that when you get your deer meat from the processor, so if you are a processor watching this, it shows you that there's not quite as much meat on a deer as you think. So when you show up after killing a big old doe or even a buck and you come back to get your meat and it's in a pretty big grocery sack or maybe 2 grocery sacks, you'll realize you can see in this little tub right here, this is one shoulder and there's going to be quite a bit, but you grind that up, add a little beef fat to it, it's not piles of meat. So when people say they eat 3 or 4 deer a year, they mean it, especially with solid family. One deer, once you debone it and just get the good meat and you get all the guts, all the bone out of it, you got a big part of that deer, this guts and bone. So the prime cuts of meat that we're throwing on this tub here, it'll prove there won't be quite as much meat as you think. So therefore keep hunting, get you a couple. That's why Georgia lets you kill 10 deer.
What we're doing now is plugging this grinder up. We just took it out of the box.
What Stevie's saying, like we literally took it out of the box and we are actually taking and replacing an old grinder I had, brand new Meet Your Maker grinder, literally took the zip tie off and plugged it in, so let her rip. So look what Stevie's got over here. He took some ribeye fat or beef fat. So deer, you cut all the fat off of it, so you can add, and here's where you can get fancy. If you want to grind this deer up and add some different things, I know people that throw cheese in there, bacon, you can add a little pork fat. We like to keep it simple. Stevie and I, we share a lot of this deer meat. I'm telling you, I just like a little beef fat. You can sometimes get the beef fat. You can buy it at most any grocery store, supermarket, a Sherry beef fat. If you got a buddy who cuts meat in the store, man, get you some of them ribeye trimmings. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. You can ask him. He'll put you some back, and that way it's good if you want to process some deer. So right now we're just going to grind up some of this deer meat, add a little beef fat. Some people add a little pork fat or bacon. In this case, it's going to be straight beef fat and venison. What's the mixture you like to, Stevie?
Me, on something like this right here, I kind of like to eyeball it. But rule of thumb is for every 10 pounds, 2 pounds of beef fat. We'll turn it on. We're going to add a little bit of meat, a little bit of deer meat, a little bit of fat. We got our plunger here. Got to add a little more meat, a little more fat. We're trying to start to come out of catch here. Water's on the end from the catch and get ready to
Look at there.
Hamburger City.
Look at that. You can see that beef fat mixed in. That's a perfect mixture. Look at that. If this don't make you want to pick up a bow or a gun, start deer hunting, you go to meatyourmaker.com and get you a grinder. Again, you can do this with your own beef. You can do this however you want to, and you can get it precisely exactly how you want it. Again, if you want to add your little cheese to this, if you want to add your little pork fat, you can do jalapenos, you can do all kind of stuff. I know people do a lot of different concoctions, and like you said, once you shrink wrap this, you literally have something good for a year to two to 3 years that you can come back and eat for a big family. It's awesome.
Steady running out.
And you can see right there, what I'll do right there, how it comes out in that grinder, go ahead and just mash it a little bit. She's ready. We might have got a bag a little too big for that, but that right there is a solid, I guarantee it's a pound, pound and a half, for sure. And so, there you go, thaw that out, you rock and roll it for some chili. And that's pretty much the simple way to break a deer down, and that's just one of the products from meatyourmaker.com. Obviously, the biggest thing I like to do, I love to grind. I love hamburger meat. Our family goes through a lot of it, but between the backstraps and grinding the deer, pretty much got the bases covered. When we come back, we'll actually show you a little bit more about this beef jerky maker here. That'll be from a completely different segment right there. So y'all stay tuned. Keep watching these videos, man. I hope y'all enjoy them. This is a life we like to live anyway. We don't need high rise buildings to make us feel alive, man. We find right here on Susie's Ridge, hunting deer and putting meat back, getting ready for the cold winter. And the good news is we'll be good for the summer too. Badoosh! All right.
Judgment.
We got some already that we shrink wrap and put in the freezer, but this one right here we're going to immediately throw on the grill and just show you what it's truly like from field to table. And looking good. We got other companies to come show what we got. So here's that we cut up right now. Papa and them working on some sausage, and we got a little sausage maker right here, a little link sausage maker you see over there, the Meat Your Maker. But here is my favorite way to cook deer. Real unbelievable simple. A little olive oil, and what I do, that just gives it a little bit of that deer meat to burn real quick because it don't have any fat on it. It does have fat, but I always trim it up. But I always just make sure you get a good coating of that olive oil on there, and that way you can cook it real hot and sear. And then from there, what I do literally is just take Montreal steak. So that proves I ain't trying to really sell you nothing. This stuff I buy, I think it's one of the best seasons out there. A little on both sides. Mix it pretty good like that. And then all we're gonna do, we're gonna throw that directly on the hot grill. In this case, we're gonna grill on pecan wood. Cook it rare, eat it right off the grill, live for the party. So check it out. My oldest boy from college, he showed up just in time. He could smell it cooking. We're about to throw this backstrap on there.
good.
Just cook it real hot, real quick.
Pecan wood action too.
Yes. Pawpaw's in there now doing the sausage. Pawpaw now, you start talking sausage, he's ready.
You like the dudes at Fuji.
I just like to sear them good on both sides. And if anything, it's the exact opposite on wild game. The more done you make them, the more gamier they get. So actually these cooked a little rare to medium at best, they're better. The purest of pure meat here.
Cook them like tuna.
There we go. The pecan wood puts a nice little sweet flavor in too, boy. This piece right, that one right there. Tell it it's gonna be good.
Oh yeah. Heavenly. Very good.
Isn't that good?
Super good.
We're gonna take it in here to the true wild game specialist, Pawpaw and Stevie. Oh, good just to be right from field to table. That ain't bad, is it?
No, that's good.
That's as good as it gets, ain't it?
Fine dining.
And tender.
That's good as steak right there.
Oh my God, tender.
I ain't got no any kind of flavor. If you said that was little nuggets of filet, you wouldn't argue.
Deer mignon.
It's taking Steve a little longer when they ain't got no teeth.
Hey, do you see how tender it is?
You know it's tender.
That's right.
Steve putting it on there, son. That's good, ain't it?
Good.
Still getting a mouthful.
Merry Christmas.
Unbelievable organic venison right here off the farm. Family, friends. It don't get no better. So if you're not hunting, you're not fishing, you're not learning to do it yourself from field to table, you got to think about this. Think deep, think hard, whether you're in a big city, New York City, out in the middle of the country, man. It's all right here for us. Good Lord's renewable resource. NatureMaker.com will help the back end. And once you kind of get that deer in the back of your truck or that turkey, that bass, whatever it is. So, happy time. We got a few pieces left.
Black Angus ain't got nothing on this.
No.
Wagyu.
And honestly, you know, you think you need a lot. I mean, literally, y'all saw it. A little bit of olive oil and a little bit of that Montreal steak.
That's it.
That's so
Watch
good.
it all.
No salt and pepper, nothing. It ain't too spice. Got a little bite, a little spice in it. A little,
Perfect.
yeah. Woo! Telling you. Lord, thank God I'm a country boy.
Hey y'all, this is kind of a bonus. Whitey kind of likes to do the grind and stuff like that for sausage, tacos, spaghetti, and things like that. Me and Pawpaw, we like the sausage part of it. And Pawpaw, tell them what we got in there.
Well, we got some smoked bacon bits and then some pork fat. We ordered a box of pork fat. So in this batch right here, we done some up mild earlier, one of these totes full. So now we heating this up to our taste. So we're gonna have some mild sausages and we're gonna have some hot. And we add a little bit of cayenne pepper to it. But as you can see here, the key thing is bring your skillet to the cooler. You got some white bread, mustard, just a touch of olive oil, and we're gonna run some through the grinder. And once we run it through the grinder, we'll do us about a pound, and we're gonna fry it up, and then we're gonna taste it. And before we grind it all, if we need some more stuff in it, then we'll go back and mix some more in it, and then get it like you want it, then grind the whole tote, be done with it. I done put a half of this, so this will be a whole one of these on one of these totes. This is a season we use right here. This is something you can buy at your local grocery store. Most everybody's got this leg seasoning. My buddy over there in Booger Bottom, he turned me on to this. We done add a little bit. We're gonna put a little more of this in here. But we almost to the point we finna grind some and see what we got right here. Keep tumbling around. And we got a tumbler, but we're doing it the old school way, using our hand for the tumbler. Of course, this stuff's been in the cooler, but it's cold out here this morning. It's about 27 degrees down here this morning, so we didn't really need a cooler last night.
You got your sausage mix, and Then we're up and run it through the grinder. Watch it. Yeah. Notice the color difference in it from the ground beef to the sausage.
There she blows. It don't hurt to just mix this up a little bit like this, because you can't completely get the consistency right. You just keep tumbling like this. It depends on how you like it. That's about what I make right there. You just tumble that back and forth right here. Make your little ball. Pat it out. That's patted deer sausage right there. We finna sample it, see what we got by taste, not by ingredients. We're going by taste now. There we go. Like I say, we got the seasoning in here. You got your leg seasoning. You got some cayenne pepper. But the mix on the sauce is 3 pounds of venison to 1 pound of pork fat. 3 pounds of venison to 1 pound of pork fat. And we added some smoked bacon bits in there. Bacon to give it a little flavor. You can buy it way cheaper than you can regular bacon, but it's actually got some smoked bacon in it also. So that's the key factor, that smoked bacon. You can see the consistency of the fat. You gotta have fat to make it good. That pork fat in there, but you still got a quality piece of meat. There we go. That's fresh all over the pan right there. Just a little bit of olive oil.
Hey, that's perfect.
And that's the true test right there with no bread and mustard. Then, of course, that's the add-on, but that's the true test right there. Here we go. From the woods to the process to the meat you maker and to your mouth. And that's what you got right here. You know what you got when you do it yourself. And I ain't bashing no processor, but when you put your hands on something, you do it all yourself, then there's no way that you don't know what you got. That's what I'm talking about. We know what we got right here. Oh, it's it.